Haunted camping horror. Amidst the desolate woods stood an eerie camping area, a place that had long been forgotten by humanity. Sarah and her friend, Rachel, were thrill-seekers who loved exploring abandoned and haunted locations, finding excitement in the spine-chilling experiences they encountered. This autumn night, they had chosen a small camping wagon as their shelter, wanting to immerse themselves in the eeriness of the forsaken grounds. As they settled into their cozy but creaky wagon, the dark forest enveloped them, and the stillness was punctuated only by the crackling of the campfire outside. A sense of unease washed over the two friends, but they laughed it off, attributing it to the chilling stories they had shared earlier. Hours passed, and the moon hung high in the sky, casting eerie shadows that seemed to dance among the trees. Sarah and Rachel were getting ready to sleep when a series of distinct knocks echoed through the cold night air. The sound sent shivers down their spines, and they exchanged puzzled glances. "Did you hear that?" Rachel whispered, her voice barely above a breath. Sarah nodded, her heart pounding in her chest. "Yeah, it's probably just the wind playing tricks on us." But the knocks persisted, growing louder and more insistent. Fear crept into their hearts, and Rachel hesitated before speaking again. "Maybe we should check it out." Sarah shook her head. "No way. It's probably some animal or the sound of the trees swaying. We're in the middle of nowhere. There's no one else here." Rachel tried to convince herself that Sarah was right, but the haunting knocks persisted, making it impossible to ignore. Finally, curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to face the source of the noise. "I'll go check," Rachel said, trying to sound braver than she felt. "It's just my imagination playing tricks on me." Before Sarah could protest, Rachel opened the creaky door and stepped outside. The chilling breeze sent shivers down her spine as she glanced around, but there was no one in sight. The woods stood in eerie silence, and the campfire crackled softly. She was about to dismiss the knocks as a figment of her imagination when she heard a faint whisper carried by the wind. It was a voice barely audible, but filled with sorrow and pain. The words were incomprehensible, but they sent a wave of terror through Rachel's soul. Feeling a sudden chill, she rushed back inside the camping wagon, slamming the door shut behind her. "Did you find anything?" Sarah asked, concern evident in her eyes. Rachel was visibly shaken, but she tried to downplay her fear. "No, there was no one out there. It must have been a prank or a trick of the mind." But deep down, both friends knew that what they had experienced was no mere prank. There was an unsettling presence in the woods, and it seemed to be drawing closer to their fragile sanctuary. As the night wore on, the eerie occurrences escalated. Strange shadows danced on the walls of the wagon, and the wind carried haunting whispers that echoed in their minds. Sarah and Rachel huddled together, seeking comfort in each other's presence. Then, without warning, the knocks returned, louder and more persistent than before. This time, Sarah decided to investigate, her fear overpowered by curiosity. As she opened the door, she was met with an unnatural darkness that seemed to swallow everything in its path. The forest, once peaceful, now appeared sinister and malevolent. Peering into the darkness, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. Her breath hitched in her throat, and she couldn't shake the feeling that something was lurking just beyond her line of sight. Her friend called out to her from inside the wagon, urging her to come back, but she couldn't tear her gaze away from the impenetrable void. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette with glowing, ethereal eyes. Fear rooted Sarah to the spot as the figure approached, moving with an otherworldly grace. It reached out a ghostly hand toward her, and she felt an icy grip on her heart. Terrified, Sarah stumbled backward, the door slamming shut before she could re-enter the wagon. Panic consumed her as she tried to open it again, but the door seemed to be sealed shut by an unseen force. She banged on it, calling for Rachel, but her friend couldn't hear her from inside the impenetrable barrier. The figure continued to approach, its ghostly whispers growing louder and more sinister. Sarah's mind raced, and in her desperation, she reached for her phone to call for help. But as she unlocked the screen, she was met with a shocking sight. The phone's reflection revealed not the forest outside, but an empty, desolate void. She was trapped, cut off from the world she once knew. The figure was mere inches away now, and its eyes bored into her soul, sapping her strength and resolve. With a final burst of adrenaline, Sarah managed to break free from the paralyzing fear and turned to run. But as she sprinted away, the forest seemed to stretch infinitely before her, like an ever-shifting labyrinth designed to keep her trapped. Back in the wagon, Rachel watched in horror as her friend disappeared into the darkness. She banged on the door, screamed for Sarah, but it was futile. The camping wagon became her prison, and the haunting knocks returned, echoing through the night. Morning came, and the forest appeared as it had before, serene and lifeless. But the camping wagon remained empty, a chilling reminder of the terrifying events that had unfolded. Sarah was never seen again, and the tale of the Desolate Whispers spread through whispers of its own, cautioning anyone who dared to enter the forsaken camping area. Legends spoke of a malevolent entity that roamed the woods, preying on unsuspecting souls, and trapping them in its nightmarish realm. From that day on, the small camping wagon stood abandoned, a haunting reminder of the darkness that lurked in the heart of the woods. The chilling tale of Sarah and Rachel serves as a warning to all those who crave the thrill of the unknown, for in the depths of the desolate woods, an ancient evil awaits, ready to ensnare its next unsuspecting victims. And so, the legend lives on, whispered in hushed tones around campfires, sending shivers down the spines of those who dare to listen. But no one will ever truly know what happened to Sarah that fateful night, lost forever in the desolate whispers of the forsaken forest.